but someone has gone like, there, a little bit of a... That's not fucking bad.
Hello there, welcome to Not For Radio. We are your hosts, Duncan Hyde, Jay Reeve. Good to have you snipers back with us for a Wednesday. And yes, blown it wide open. Another Sniper Elite edition going everywhere because our poor friends that are Sniper Elite on Apple Podcasts haven't been able to get them on Apple. So maybe some of you are listening to this on Spotify. Maybe some of you guys are just getting these extra episodes for free. They're good on you.
Yeah, it turns out, a direct quote from Willie, who's on this, is that turns out Apple doesn't give a fuck about our little podcast here in New Zealand. Who would have thought? Anywho, on the pod today, would you rather? A cracking game that we often play and we'll play more often.
Yeah, Mates Would Ya is what I've decided to whack under as a title for that one. Also as well, we pay tribute to one of Jay's mates who's at his funeral yesterday, the amazing OB. Why you shouldn't get a Russian dick enlargement, just in case you've been thinking about it. We're going to try and steer you out of that life decision. It's not a good one.
Completely unrelated to my mate passing away. What you should do with a drunken sailor. Some of the best ads that have popped up here on screens in New Zealand and are now getting some fanfare from afar.
A little bit of coverage on Cyclone Alfred, which is about to smack into our mates on the southeast coast of Queensland, Australia. And just how gnarly that could get, and obviously people hunkering down at the moment. Robbo from Australia, I think he's from Newcastle, is in with some Limericks, and also why you should never trust your mates in the army.
Yeah, the keyword that you're going to slide into the Not For Radio DMs with for some team kit is OB, just the letters OB.
So
my
we need
good buddy.
Your address, your size, maybe email address as well. So slide into the Not For Radio Facebook page with a DM and fire that through, and you'll be in the mixer. This is wide open for everyone. This is normally just for the Sniper Elite. But it's good to have you extra people listening. And now's the time, I guess, to share an episode with a mate if they've never climbed into it. We're on YouTube now as well. You can also subscribe if you want to support us to those Sniper Elite episodes. These episodes will disappear from your feed once we get Apple sorted out, which is just a bit of a blowout at the back end.
A whole bunch of bricks and stuff, which we're very good to. We're very lucky to be flossed out with. We're heading some people's ways.
Enjoy the potty.
This is Not For Radio, with your hosts, we'll call them Jay and Dunc, because that's their fucking name.
Okay, war story. Overseas, Texas, USA, from Cedar Hill, from Jeremy.
Sick. Thanks, Jezza.
One of the jobs I trained for while in the Army, stationed at Fort Knox, Kentucky, was as a Bradley fighting vehicle maintenance, whatever that is.
So Bradley fighting vehicles are the big armoured tanks. Not an armoured tank, but an armoured personnel carrier.
During training, we were learning how to change a torsion bar on different track vehicles. Replacing the torsion bar, which is part of the suspension system, requires two people, one on each side of the track vehicle. We were paired up with another soldier, and two groups would work together, switching out just to get some practice. When replacing a torsion bar, a person on one side lines up the splines of the torsion bar and pushes it through to the other side. After it gets pushed through about 3/4 of the way through, they screw a large slide hammer onto their end of the bar, then pushes it the rest of the way. Listening for a command from their partner. The person on the opposite side lines up the splines of the torsion bar with the slots in the hole of the side of the vehicle, giving commands which way to move the bar to get everything lined up properly. Once the splines are lined up properly with the slots, he then gives the command for the person using the slide hammer to tap it in order to firmly seat the bar. Once seated, they stand up, move out of the way, give the command, and the person operating the slide hammer then slides the hammer hard several times until the torsion bar is fully seated. The slide hammer prevents the bar from going all the way through to the other side. I was observing my friend and his partner installing the bar. My friend and I were on the receiving side of the vehicle, lining up the splines, while our partners were operating the slide hammer. My friend told his partner to tap it and to seat it. Instead of tapping it, he slid it hard. 3 things happened. 1, the slide hammer was not screwed all the way in. 2, my friend was still looking in the hole to see if it was seated. 3, since his partner had not attached the hammer properly and he had slid the hammer hard instead of tapping, the torsion bar came flying out with a loud donk, striking my friend square in the centre of the forehead, snapping his head back, knocking him back several feet and knocking him unconscious for about 5 minutes.
Fuck, that would hurt.
When he came to...
It's just like No Country for Old Men. Like that fucking... that thing that it fucking kills people with.
When he came to, he could not remember what had happened, and for the next 7 to 10 days, he had a bump in the shape of the splines of a torsion bar in the centre of his forehead. We could swear his IQ also dropped several points from the hit as well. Thanks, mate.
I love
Wait, have a look. No, have a look. Bang! Ah!
Give it a tap. Full send. Fucking patunk. Thanks, mate. I've got one. I love the fact that the military stories come through. Like, they're
the best.
Just endless. This one here is from Boogie and Dunners, and it's under the category of young and dumb. Hi, guys. Back in the late 70s, I was in the Royal Navy with a mate, Whacker.
Whacker. Fuck, that is some nickname.
His real name was Gary Waits, because you guess it, that's his fucking name. I served together on the HM. They're really fucking particular. There's a lot of detail in this, Boogie, so I hope you're not fucking things up for everybody.
Just replace ship name with something else.
He was on a boat that starts with the letter A. We kept in touch and occasionally caught up for drinking and debauchery when back in Civvy Street. After a spectacular drunken night in Manchester, I found myself sleeping on a camp bed at his parents' home. At some point in the middle of the night, still pissed to bits, I decided to try and sober up, so I ran a bath, into which I climbed and promptly fell asleep. I was later woken by Whacker amid a huge commotion and was dragged back to my camp bed. By this time, I was fucking freezing cold and obviously still absolutely wankered. Apparently, Whacker's nan, who was old, more than a bit balmy, and importantly who I'd never met, as usual, got up for an early morning piss, and halfway through the business looked up to see some strange naked man sparked out in the bath. As you might expect, she literally shit herself. Screamed, went into major hysterics, waking up the whole house. Whacker's mum ran in, calmed the nan down, and no serious damage was done. Whacker got arseholes for bringing home his wayward mate, and I had a hangover and a cold from hell to show for it. So we move on to round 2. Sometime later, Gary came over to Liverpool. Dutifully, I showed him the town, and he was well and truly motherfucked by the time we arrived home in the early hours. Aside from me scrubbing out the... Aside from me scrubbing out the black cab after he spewed up, I managed to get him into bed, no worries, however. My aunt and uncle were coincidentally staying over. Now, my auntie Ida had a serious heart condition and was in town for a hospital appointment.
Oh, God.
In the middle of the night, her and George were awakened by a noise in their room. They put the light on to see Whacker standing at their bedside in just his fucking undies, which at this point he decided to drop with a big grin, grabbed his cock and was about to take a piss on my auntie. I mean, she wasn't that much of a minger to deserve that treatment. Anyway, my Uncle George thankfully averted the crisis and put Whacker back into bed. They were away early in the morning, so they never got to see Whacker again, but the laughs and the memories of that night kept her going for many a long year. Whacker and I are still in touch, despite the fact that I now live in Dunedin. The laughs keep coming, and I'm looking forward to reminding him of our respective faux pas. Best up the waz.
Up the waz.
Up the waz. What a fucking legend.
Jeez, that's good.
The
Funny how alcohol makes you do that, eh? Like, your body's running on autopilot. You just go,
I need a piss.
I need to get somewhere where I can piss, and I'm going to settle for anywhere. Will get this out of me, and fucking all other rationalisation of what's in and around you just doesn't matter. It doesn't even factor in. It doesn't even compute.
You can just, there's parts of it that justify, so you turn left or whatever, you go through a door. Like I've woken up pissing through a mate's fly screen out into the back outdoor of his house, pissing into wardrobes, pissing on drawers, pissing on curtains, just fucking terrible stuff.
Frank's the bear. Have I talked about this in the podcast? Frank's doing it heaps lately. So he'll wake up a couple of hours after going to bed, and he'll try and piss in the what we call the shoe cupboard, which is just like the hallway cupboard, or the linen cupboard, which is beside that, which is he's gone too far. So then we need to be careful about steering him, because when people are half asleep, they can sometimes be a bit psycho.
Yeah.
So we've just got to like gently figure out what sort of mood he's in, and then steer him back to the toilet. And then so we were away last weekend, and then chatting to Jax from here at work who was babysitting. She was like, oh, yeah, I think someone pissed in the bath last night. Which is a good nudge. Like,
That's great.
That would have felt way higher than a toilet for Frank, so
Yeah.
because it's a real high-sided bath, so he had to go on his tiptoes or he pissed up and in. And then I forgot about her saying that and then went to go put the kids in the bath that night, and Heath jumped straight in a puddle of piss before I'd filled it up. I was like, hang on, mate. Frank. And he's like, no, I didn't. I was like, well, of course you're not going to remember it. You're asleep.
Yeah, the final straw, which I took as a sign. You know, I'm not much of a person that reads
To
into
start
these
wearing
things.
adult diapers.
Yeah, no, was to leave the old radio station that I was at. Was I pissed, like not on a singular occasion, but on multiple occasions, pissed on any of the uniform clothing that they gave us, the branded station clothing that they gave us. And the final one was in a top drawer, and I would have tiptoed and pissed up into it, lobbed one in from well out, like full sniped it from way out.
Like Stephen Curry.
And woke up in the morning, and that was the only thing I pissed on in that drawer. And I was like, you know what? I don't really enjoy the station anyway, so this is a good sign for me to fucking peel out.
Why are you leaving? In the meeting.
I don't know.
I just pissed all over your promo clothes, and clearly and subconsciously I don't like this joint anymore.
pissed off. I'm literally pissed off.
And you're pissed on by me. See ya.
Banter, stories, and just fucking laughing all the time.
Got a message from Robbo. He's in Newey in Australia, so I'm guessing Newcastle. Been listening to you guys for about 2 months now, and I'm up to episode 430. Great nudge.
Jesus, that's moving.
So nearly up to date. Anyway, got a couple of limericks for you. I don't know if you've heard them before, but here you go. Mary had a little bike, the pump was up the front, and every time Mary hit a bump, the pump went up her. And limerick number 2. Here I sit in smelly vapour, done a shit, ain't got no paper. Time is short, I must not linger. What the fuck? I'll just use my finger.
That was one of the greatest. I don't know how I've managed to remember it for this long, but I would have been like 13 or 14 in a public toilets at the beach in Whangamata, and it was back in the day when graffiti on toilet walls was fucking rampant, you know? It's like M Hall blows goats. Like, I fucking can't even remember how I remember the guy's name. It was like fucking hilarious. And then on one of them it said, some come here to sit and think. Some come here to shit and stink. I come here to wank my balls and read what's written on these walls.
Oh, that is so
How
good.
was I going to remember that?
That is amazing.
I can't fucking remember much, but I remember that.
Jeez, I reckon that person peaked then.
Yeah.
Having a wank and writing a poem.
Very good.
Now, I just want to quickly mention, while we're on the, we're kind of close to Australia with that message coming from Australia, they've got Cyclone Alfred about to hit over there, which is a Category 2 cyclone. Last time...
It's been fucking pumping. My mates have been surfing. Kara's been on.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get more than on. Like, it'll get so on, it's off at some point. So, Cyclone Category 2. Last time one made landfall was 1974.
Wow.
And so this thing came down from the top of Australia, whipped out a little bit, and now it's making a direct beeline for southeast Australia, which is where I've got heaps of family.
Yeah.
One of my mates reckons it's basically going to go over his house. Then they reckon the eye of the storm was going to hit about 3 o'clock on Friday morning and go... in fact, I got a message from Gibbo. I should just play it because he was like, does your mates in Pottsville, which is the in-laws, do they, not the in-laws, sisters in-laws, did they need any help? And, it's fucking deleted. Anyway, so he was saying it's going to go across the Gold Coast, the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
And then the bits around the outside are the fucking super gnarly bits. And at this stage, they're forecasting between 155 kilometre-hour winds up to 165. This is for the area that he's in. And also 1 metre of rain.
Wow.
1 fucking metre of rain in 24 hours.
If you, and people will be like, man, it sounds pretty quick. If I've ridden a motorbike at that pace, and that is fucking hot in an open face helmet, and that your whole face gets pushed back against your cheekbones and it bends your face out of shape.
So I think I read in the news today 150 is destructive winds, like
Yep.
that's going to bring down power poles, trees and shit, and then when you get up to 170 that's like severe destruction.
Yeah, that's houses fuck off at that sort of speed, I reckon.
So Buster from the Two Flogs podcast just messaged him saying, which is really nice of him, saying your mates up at Pottsville, let us know if they need any hand or anything, because we've got plenty of people that can help out. And he also said, I've done some panic buying, bought a pallet of pool salt 7 kg of bacon. I'll be the richest cunt in the Shire next week. A panic buying happening. But that's about to get proper hectic. And then my sister, who's over there, who's going to get, like, literally spanked as well. She's right in the area where they're going to get clocked the hardest. There's 39, well, so let's say 40,000 people on this Facebook page. It says, blow at Cyclone Alfred to push it back. And they're locked in from Friday morning, 3 a.m. So everyone's going to go out of their houses and all at the same time.
That is a straight piss into the wind. Man, it's crazy. Well, best of luck to everybody that's over there that's about to go through that, because that sucks. Fuck, it's been pumping waves.
And Queensland fucking does terrible in floods as well. Yes, Westy Lee?
Mate, have a look at the message that I just sent you in Messenger on your phone. We'll put this in the show notes. This is from a couple of hours ago on a Gold Coast beach. Have a look at the state of the sky.
Oh,
it's amazing, eh?
You would not. And there are so many people on the beach out there.
That looks like it's fucking.
Because I got to say, if it's the same pic. Yeah, amazing, eh? Yeah, so that's the. I've seen storm fronts like that.
End of days shit.
Yeah, I've seen storm fronts, not that big, but come up from basically Antarctica when we were surfing in Kaikoura one year. And we turned up and it was flat. And
that's an old picture of an old storm.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Still put it in, gnarly.
It'd
be worse than that.
Impressive, yeah. So you should see them coming in. But even ships that are sailing into that sort of stuff, fuck, it's gnarly.
Yeah, super hectic. Thinking of you guys.
Yeah. So Corey Hutchings was a New Zealand Ironman legend, basically. He was like the pin-up, the poster boy of surf lifesaving for New Zealand and Australia. His son, Corbin, has got this incredible barrel, like a fucking proper belter at Kira. And he went so deep and so long and so fast. Like, he was rocketing and this thing was fucking rifling and he just absolutely pinned the ears back. It'd be the fucking wave of his life. Like, you'll never get better than that. It was unreal and they got it all on film. Which
this is from the storm.
Yeah, this one here. So ahead of the storm, the waves come in, and then the storm kind of generally rolls through and behind it. So we look for these cyclones as surfers to find out where they're going to whip swell, because obviously it's going to light up. So Raglan's starting to fire as well, and starting to light up because the push off that it's given the swell on the west coast. So yeah, pretty impressive stuff.
It's good to have a silver lining in what could be super hectic.
Well, there's the price you're going to get fucking thunder pumped, but it would have pumped the same thing through all those islands up north as well.
Just going to take a look at one of the greatest ads to ever be released here in New Zealand.
Just found this pod, and as Gandhi rightly said, better late than pregnant.
So, this ad was chucked on the Sniper's Nightmare Facebook page, which these snipers are going berserk for at the moment. There's, 190,000 people on there. And also good to see, I was just letting in some people this morning, good to see people that have been listening to the podcast but have yet to go search it out. So, because it asks you, like, how did you find us, sort of thing. They'll be like, listen to the podcast. So, if you're listening to the podcast now and you've never jumped on that group, jump on it, because it's just an absolute honey hole of fucking great humans and great content as well. And someone in the UK posted this up, and it's an old Toyota ad, and they were like, man, I wish we had ads like this in New Zealand.
Was it an old Kiwi ad?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is for the Toyota Hilux.
What happened? Well, there I was, driving along my Hilux, off-roading, over this mountain, through a valley, in the middle of a cyclone. It's caused a flood and triggered a landslide. Before I finally get to this volcano, it's perched right on the edge of a cliff. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hang on to your steak and cheese, mate, because this is where it got interesting. From out of nowhere, the biggest wild boar I've ever seen in my life. Flames pouring out of his nostrils. He had full body armour on, 2 rocket launchers on his back like Commando. He's riding this massive motorcycle and getting himself airbrushed on the fuel tank by this crazy-looking chimpanzee. And that little fruitcake, he looked me right in the eye, and he demanded an ice cream. So here I am. Hokey pokey.
I can't remember who that was. It was like a Saatchi's, a BBDO, or a Cleanser that did one of those that did that ad, and that creative team, because that was like maybe mid 2000s, like 2005ish. When that was like the last bastion of all those really fucking great ads that came out, and shit, they were funny. The fucking weirdos that were in those agencies coming up with that wild shit, and they would sign, and people were like, "Yep," and that was because Mark Ellis would have been involved in that as well because
Yeah, okay.
he was with Toyota and would have been part of that sort of setup too.
Former Warrior and All Black.
Yeah, so good, so good, so funny though. And we'll put the ad in the show notes so you can check it out for yourself. Fuck, it's good.
Very rarely will like nowadays would an agency get in like what is essentially an unlimited budget to make something really fucking rad and stand out. It's also harder to justify when there's less eyes on the TV.
Well, it's even like the Ghost Chips ad and all those ones that were done
Yeah.
back in the day, like that, or the Instant Kiwi where the guy dives off the bridge and captures the trout out of the water. Like all of those Instant Kiwi ads, there's like a series of them.
Let's make a segment of this because I mean the international listeners will be like, "Fuck, they're quite good." Like
Yeah.
we think they're quite good, and we've seen them 100 times.
Yeah.
So let's we'll make a little wee series on this in the podcast where we come back and we play another classic Kiwi ad because there has been some fucking rippers.
Yeah.
One of them just said bugger like fucking
That
12
was another
times.
Toyota ad.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
another Toyota ad, and it was just everyone saying bugger for the whole ad, and
Yeah.
then lots of complaints obviously, but they just rolled it out. Everyone was like, "Fuck yeah."
Even like even the Tui ads from back in the day, the Tui beer ads, and then they rehashed them and realised that fucking 2025 is a real tough place to be
Did
operating.
they get stung with that?
They
I've
got
seen anything.
fucking belted. Yeah, our good
yeah.
Our good friend Billy walked straight into that absolute hellfire.
Good fun there.
I auditioned for the Ghost Chips TV commercial.
Did ya?
Yeah. So I was the Samoa Tonga game at the 2011 Rugby World Cup at Eden Park, and we were there, and we left maybe 25 minutes before the final whistle and went up to the Kingslander, which is a bar right next to our big national stadium, Eden Park. And I was outside punching a dart, having a chat with this fat dude with curly hair, and we just got talking, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Oh mate, I like your tattoos," and I was like, "Oh yeah, have you seen this one?" And put my finger moustache up to my nose, and he was like, "Oh mate, that's fantastic." He goes, "Bro, I'm a casting director for TV commercials. We've
Was it Josh?
Oh, I don't know. It was a big boy with
Yeah.
curly hair. He was a jovial lad. Like he was. We sat down and we punched tins for a good couple hours and just started talking and joshing about life. And he goes, "Yeah, man, I'm a casting director. We're doing this commercial for New Zealand Transport. It's a drink driving commercial. Are your mates like you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Bro, we're looking for a group of real close knit mates to come in and do this drink driving commercial." He's like, "Here's my card. Give me an email on Monday. We'll get you in. We'll have a read. We'll sort it out." And so the script was vastly different to what it turned out being.
Yeah, okay.
And so I took a couple of the boys with me, and we were in this basement, and we were just kind of partying, pretending to drink, fake beers and just having a bit of a scene. And then one of the lines, I read for the line that says, "Hey, bro, Monique says you're dumb." And I was like, "Yeah, sweet." And then the Warriors were in the grand final that year as well. And my mate was like, "Oh, when's the filming? Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it because I'm going over to Sydney for the Warriors for the against Manly." And he's like, "Oh, mate, yeah, we'll let you know." And I was like, "Okay, we kind of haven't got it if he wasn't going to tell us when filming was." And then as we all walked out, he goes, "Lee, can you come here for a second?" And he pulled me back in, and he's like, "So filming will be between these dates and these dates." He's like, I do need to let you know that we do have other people coming in." He goes, "We've got a coach of Māori boys from Northland coming down to do a reading for this, and we'll let you know." And to be fair, I could not imagine me in that commercial. Now,
It's iconic.
it's so good. I'll put that link in the show
I don't
notes
think the
as
person
well.
that got it would have been able to imagine themselves in it either, though. Like,
No.
I don't think it's normal for anybody, and then you see it enough times that it is normal.
Yeah.
There's probably almost once again worth putting in as a piece of beautiful cinematography from New Zealand. 2 Cars, One Night, which is a
Great
Taika
film.
Waititi short film.
Let's stop
We'll
plugging
do that.
these, and we'll
Anyway.
play them all
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
show.
I'll put a whole bunch of links in the show notes for you.
Okay.
FYI, this is the mother hecking greatest.
You can read this news story, Jay, because I already kind of know it. I just want to get your reaction as you read through this.
Here's the news story. A Russian bloke looking to add some extra heft downstairs ended up paying the ultimate price after a dodgy injection took a deadly turn. Fuck, is he using synthol? Because this is shit.
That's the stuff those weird people do to bulk up their muscles.
Yuck. The 56-year-old had hyaluronic acid, a filler used for plumping lips. Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard of this before. The mist gets in the nerves every now and again. For a set of DSLs. They jabbed into his little comrade in the hopes of a size boost. But instead of walking out feeling like a new man, he soon started struggling to breathe, feeling weak and experiencing tremors. By the next morning, he was dead. Doctors later found out the filler had travelled through his veins and blocked his lungs, causing a fatal embolism. Turns out injecting random substances into an area packed with large blood vessels is a bad idea. Nice one, dickhead. Experts say cases like this are rare but not unheard of, especially when procedures are done by unqualified practitioners. Meanwhile, clinics around the world continue offering similar treatments, promising bigger results for as little as a few $100. A grim reminder that when it comes to cosmetic enhancements, bigger risks sometimes come with bigger consequences. That is pretty fucked up. There's a dude in South America who syntholed the hell out of his dick, and it just looks like a fucking battered sausage, eh? Like it's shit.
It's not like synthol goes hard either. So you've just got like this.
It's just this weird little gelatinous setup.
Yeah.
It's almost like your dick's made out of cartilage. And you pull it out
Did
and you
it
go...
say nice one, dickhead, in the news story?
No, it didn't. I added that for dramatic effect. On this,
Yeah.
so we were out on... I don't know. No, I didn't say it the other day. Came back. A friend of mine's back from the UK. She's a model, and she basically gets offered all of these different treatments because she's fucking gorgeous, and that's what they offer up. And I was talking about it, I was like, fuck, I heard this fucking wild-ass bukkake story that somebody paid for, and she was like, salmon semen. And I was like, yes. So they inject salmon semen into their skin, and it tightens it up kind of almost like a Botox. I was like... You're fucking kidding. We should get her on to explain it. She was like, I've never had more fucking pain in my life. So they put in a whole bunch of tiny little injections of salmon semen. I was like, let's just fucking unpack that for a second. Someone's whacking off a salmon to start with, which you've done.
You have to do that to...
Don't explain any further. Anyway.
To fertilise the eggs. You can manually fertilise them. So you milk one when it's spawning time.
Okay. And so they take that salmon semen and then they literally inject it into the skin because of whatever fuck it works with. But she was like, it stung like a motherfucker.
It's a foreign object put into your body. Of course it's going to sting.
She's had millions and millions of different treatments because that's her line of work. And she was like, by far, that was the most fucking painful. She was like, I only did one side. And you can tell when you look at it because it's so, one side's really fucking tight and tidy. The other side's fucking stunning.
It actually works.
Oh, yeah, it totally works.
Why'd she go back?
Because it's fucking painful.
Just get an anaesthetic.
Possibly. I don't know. It might have the paralysing effect of what she was after.
Jeez.
But how's that? A salmon bukkake. That's like... Also, like, once again, like, it makes you go... Who, like, there was obviously a first person to try everything on this world. Like, a first person to try fucking, a first person to get a blowjob, first person to wank, a first person to try honey, eat a banana, fucking eat some shellfish, you know, like, all the firsts. And then you go, how did someone fucking come up with drinking cow's milk? Like, you go, it makes sense. But someone has gone like, a little bit of a... That's not fucking bad. And how did we settle on just the cow? I mean, obviously, depending on where you were, goats probably got milked and that sort of, like all these different milks sort of came about. And then some fuckwit gets fucking almonds and grinds them up and pours water through and goes, almond milk.
Well, you can make milk out of anything, really, can't you?
You can say that it's milk, but is it milk? You could say
you've milked some leaves.
Yeah, soy milk.
I feel like, because when you start milking, like, so it must have started from someone breastfeeding me, like, that's fucking mean, but there's not enough of that when you've got some bigger titties.
Yeah, what is the biggest set of tits that we can get our hands on? Look around the place and you go,
who's got over mad nips?
They milk camels when they're, you know, like in the Middle East, like any of those animals that have fucking massive mammary glands and produce milk, they fucking milk them.
Other ways of adding like a creamy taste to cooking, though? It all comes from...
Coconut cream.
Yeah, but what happens if you're not near a coconut tree, Jay?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, totally. But you also wouldn't go, here's a weird thing that I'm going to introduce to, like, there's like a bolognese recipe that has milk in it. Like a traditional bolognese has like a cream in it.
You know when they brought out that sauce that tasted like Big Mac sauce?
Yeah.
And you fucking put it on everything? You're like, oh man, this is awesome. I have it on toast, I have it on a fucking burger and a wrap fucking sandwich, just every form in which way you can get it in. That's what would have happened when every town got its first cow. Yeah. That's how it ended up being an all-loaf food. It would have been like,
fucking tits.
What have we got?
Whack
what have we got here? Bacon with cow's milk. Yeah. It would have been like, yeah. Everyone would have been so hot on the new cow milk. milk.
Well, even the preparation of things like that. So there was a thing called eating higher on the hog. So if you were from predominantly African American slaves, the hams, the loin chops, and the probably any of that bigger cut on the animal would be kept for them, and then the slaves would get given the feet, the tendons, the fucking heads, and all the shit that they just didn't want to eat. Basically, the organs. And so that was a sign of opulence. The further up you ate on the pig, it was called eating higher on the hog. And same sort of thing. Like, someone was like, pork belly, I wonder if we cut that real thin. Oh, fucking streaky bacon, because it's got fucking perfect fat marbling in it. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't know streaky bacon existed, because the pork from the pork belly was cut into pork strips.
Once you've
pork
had
fingers.
Well, you start on middle bacon, it's dry as fuck when your parents cook it away.
Exactly. It's like fucking dust.
Streaky bacon, you're like, what the fuck did they fuck around with middle bacon for? That pile of shit. Put it back. Mince it. Do something with it.
Exactly. It's impressive.
Jay, I don't know how much you want to share, but you're away at a funeral yesterday, and we had the Wally Mad Dog, the vet from Australia, his yarn go up for Not for Radio.
Mate, what an absolute champion
I'm
that
still
bloke is.
processing that, and it's been like a few days. We recorded that at the end of last week.
Yeah, I've spoken to people at length about it. Fucking crazy. If you haven't heard it, man, it's a fucking hell of a listen. But yes, we sent off a very dear friend of ours, OB, Ollie Bradford, and I've never been to a service quite like it. So he had stage 4. He was terminal cancer, young buck, not much older than myself. Very successful. He went to Hursty, very good friend of ours, was the MC, and he did a great job of summing it up. Like, OB was very dry with his sense of humour, fucking rapidly quick and real short, and he fucking jabbed from all angles. He was back-to-back coast-to-coaster, which, like the race, the endurance race from one side of the country to the other, cycling thousands of kilometres, went to every single university in New Zealand, was super clever, went to university in Prague, which is fucking weird. He basically just went over there on a piss-drinking trip, because he was like, I wonder what they go like in their weeks.
He's a university where the cheapest piss in the world is. What
Yeah.
a fucking boss.
Yeah, he's a legend. And he also got his pilot's license, but... we would fucking sit, and he knew how to lick the fucking stamp, and he would operate, and so every now and again he would just, after these nights, he'd be struggling to get some kip, and so I mentioned to him on one of these nights about how if you were to go to your doctor and say that you had an upcoming trip, which he did have an upcoming trip, that he could say, I've got a big trip coming up and I'm going to get some sleeping pills so that I can get some sleep, because I'm a little bit afraid of flying. And so he's like, okay, cool, sweet as. So he gave him the script for sleeping pills, and that would be what he would use as recurring theme for when he would go on to get sleeping pills, in case he couldn't get to sleep after a big night out. So he could rest himself up to be the fucking champion that he was. Anyway, I digress. So he's going through, this is quite a while ago, so he's going through his pilot's license as part of one of the things he does. He liked to fly. And so he went through, did all of the theory, passed all the tick, thanks mate, did all the practical. This is what we're hearing at this. So I'm hearing this for the first time yesterday at the service. The first story is completely aside. So this is where yesterday he's like, he was into his aviation. Fucking not many people like flying with him. But everyone was a bit concerned. He loses his wallet, loses his phone. So fucking going up on a plane with this guy was a little bit sketchy. Like, the boys were honest about it. And so he's going through, passed everything with flying colours. He's one of the most fucking academically smart people you'll ever meet. And then he did the theory, did the practical, which you fly around with a fucking hood on, just instrument flying, basically, not seeing where you're going. It's amazing. And then it came to signing him off on his medical thing. And the guy's like, the fucking guy signing him off is like, sheeps. And he goes, what seems to be the issue? And he goes, quite a few sleeping pills here, and it says the cause is that you have a morbid fear of flying. So
That's your fault, dog.
No, so I was out on I'll quite happily pass it off to everyone else that was there that same night too. But that was like, it was just like, even those little bits and pieces were for classic. He had these, another fucking cracking yarn of his was, he was on, like, he raised like literally over $1 million for the Bowel Cancer Foundation, for Movember, for Catwalk, which is spinal cord research. Over his time, he ran this incredible thing called the Great New Zealand Tee-Off, where golf clubs from around the country basically everything. He was, like I said, he was fucking great at he was great at multi-sporting and all that sort of stuff. Fit as fuck, rapid, hell of a carcass on the bloke, like just unbeatable. Like could fucking run for days, cycle for days, whatever it was. But had never played a game of footy. Like he was very much not that sort of frame. Anyway, so he's on these boards raising all this money, and his latest little venture was to be on the board for the Blues, the rugby team, Super Rugby team here. And one of the boys hit him up and was like, because Hursty fucking played for the Crusaders, fucking great footy player. And so Hursty goes to him, why the fuck are you on the board for the Blues? And he reckons he turned around and looked him dead in the eyes and goes, I just want to give something back to the game that gave me so much. Like he's just, mate, he is. Shit. I will forever, like his partner said, I will forever look for his face in a crowd, because whenever we fucking locked horns, it was just the greatest of times. He never complained. He didn't say shit the entire time, like that he was on this downward side. He never complained. He just fucking got on with it, and he lived such a spectacular life in such a short amount of time. And you've never seen a collection of people like it turn up to his funeral yesterday. Like, I'm talking fucking politicians to fucking DC was there, Dan Carter was there, fucking, international rugby players. People flew from all over the world to be at this service, and it was fucking packed. 600 people on an RSVP list and thousands online. Like, wow. I'm talking about a guy that most people would have never supposedly heard of, had a dignitary send-off, and rightly so, because fuck me, he managed to squeeze a bunch into that little dash that you get, and yeah, it was such a shame that, because he would have loved the part. He used to fucking rub his hands to get fucking wig, and he'd have this little rice wine. Fuck, he was good fun, and yeah, he'll be forever missed. But yeah, it was very, 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 very good send off yesterday. It was fucking hilarious, like, but in a really, really great way. So, rest in peace, OB. You fucking champion. I love you.
What a great man. Like, not many people can operate like that in the lead up to the full stop is fast approaching. Yeah. Like there's definitely but
it was Movember, like it was literally in November last year. We were at the deal. So he worked as a share broker. He worked in finance basically anyway. And so Hursty broached the topic with him. He's like, so like, how do you want to be remembered? And he's like, I don't know. Financier, philanthropist, aviator. It's like, fucking come on. But he was all of those. He was all of those things and more. And fuck, he was good fun. Yeah. He's like, as the night only gets better the later you get, because it's a distillation of just the fucking best of the best.
I think it's this is whenever I've had close mates die as well, and I always say this: it's tough and it's a shit pill to swallow, but I think it's like a time when you need to go, would I have rather had the amount of time that I got to spend with them, which is cut short, but still, however long that was, or no time at all. Yeah. And you'd always choose the time that was cut short.
And I think even off that book that I'm reading at the moment, that 5 different types of wealth, it's like, who's going to be in the front row at your funeral? And his front row went fucking 100 fucking rows back. Like, it was, like, I've never seen anything more impressive. Like, for a guy that wasn't, like, it was literally a dignitary send-off. Like, fuck me. The number of people, the outpouring of love, the collection of humans that he connected with along the way. This wasn't like, I'm going along to support a mate. Like, this is fucking a room full of people that he had one-on-one dealings with that really respected him. Like, wow. I've never seen anything like it, nor do I think it will ever be replicated. Like, it was amazing. But yeah, I was saying, standing next to Ali Williams, who's a former All Black fucking mate of mine, who was really, really close to them, particularly in the closing stages. And so fucking Wams, he's a big fuck. He's 7 foot tall, whatever it is, big pillar of strength. I'm standing there, I'm staring at him, And I was like, fucking Wamsy's going to pull me through this because I get quite emotional, and I could feel I was going to be quite emotional leading up to it. And so I fucking slid the sunnies on, and the chin started to wobble pretty early on in the piece, and I looked across, and fuck me, his face is leaking. Like, he's fucking a blithering idiot. And I'm like, fuck me. So that fucking teed me off, and then the boys around me started fucking fall apart as well. But Wamsy went up to him at the in sort of the last couple of months, and sort of saw him and grabbed him by the shoulders and was like, hey mate, hey, and just fucking started to fall down. And Obi wasn't a big guy by any stretch, and at this stage he'd been fucking chewed up by the rust, and it was horrible. And he goes, hey, you're not the one fucking dying here. Oh, and that was like, he goes, I'm pretty sure I'm the one that's dying. You know, like it was something like, it's like,
your farm, man.
Sort your shit out. Yeah, to the end, man. He is fucking funny. So rapid.
R.I.P.O.B.
Yeah, he was one of the greats.
Hello, champions. You are listening to Not For Radio.
Just going to finish on this one today, Jay. This is, and we see you're in this as well. I'm going to call this segment, Mate, Would Ya?
Hasn't got a heartbeat.
Would you rather have fingers that are always sticky or feet that are always wet?
Fingers that are sticky.
Do you have the effect of wet feet where it gets fucking wrinkly and your feet dissolve like trench foot?
No, I think your feet are just like used to being wet.
Sweaty.
Yeah.
I'd go with wet feet.
Yeah, I'm going with
because no
wet
one's
feet.
fucking dealing with my feet.
Why are you going with sticky fingers?
Because he's a recidivist thief.
Do you know? No, because just put some gloves on.
Well, you're then going to be the fucking weird glove guy. Look how it went for MJ.
Man,
Michael Jackson.
there's a lot they can do in the glove game these days. So you're rocking around 24/7 with wet feet.
Yeah, fucking sweet ass. I don't mind it. They're wet now. It's quite sweaty.
Curveball at it, eh?
Oh, okay.
So you can't wear fucking gloves on your feet then?
Socks,
Yeah.
wet socks.
Sock gloves.
Well, do you know? No, but you know, like you're.
Fuck, the ones with the fingers, eh?
Yeah, it's sick.
No, yeah, I'm
Bare
100%
feet.
going the hands.
How wet are we talking? And you like visibly like they're seeping.
They're like constantly just about to drip. So
I don't
they'll
mind that.
probably have like several drips about to go on them.
I feel like I'm there anyway.
I'm going to throw one more at you. You can either take $10,000 right now or push a button that gives you a 50-50 chance of either $1 million or getting smacked in the face by Mike Tyson in his prime. What are you going to do?
I'll go 50-50.
Yeah, I'm gambling that feature.
Yeah.
Always.
Like it'll
I'm not
fucking
getting
hurt,
it,
but he's not going to kill you.
10 grand's not enough, Abe. What if that was 100 grand? Take the 100 grand now or a 50-50 chance at a million?
On a mill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably take $100.
I'm gambling that feature.
Fuck yeah. What are you doing with your $1 million?
Buying Mike Tyson dinner. How good.
All right, on that note, that'll do for the podcast today. Hopefully Wednesday's going good so far. And yeah, have a ripper rest of your day. Don't forget to share an episode with a mate. We're on YouTube now, so if you haven't checked out that, there's a whole bunch of stuff going up on YouTube. The team working hard to get those videos up. In the show notes as well, you'll also find a link to our collab with Newfound Sunglasses. We've done some real high-end sunnies. We actually designed the frames and the lenses ourselves. From scratch, which we didn't know was going to be an option when we started chatting to them, but we have. And so they are not for radio sunglasses. They're called the Dunks. At some stage, we will do a Jay's. But yeah, get amongst those before they sell out. It's a pre-order at the moment. I think they're arriving in the country this week.
Yeah, they're meant to be, which is exciting.
So yeah, have a good rest of your day. Go well, go long, go deep. Yo!